Well, you're right, it's not Christmas yet. But do you have an idea what candles or candle making has to do with semiconductor industry? If not, stay with me. Right. In one of our last videos, we were talking about semiconductor processes and what kind of materials and substances you would need to establish a semiconductor process in general. So we have been talking about basically sand and how sand can be used to produce silicon. In this case, we were talking about polycrystalline silicon. And as you may figure that polycrystalline silicon is not suitable to manufacture wafers out of it. And so this process of manufacturing monocrystalline silicon is pretty similar to a candle making process, in which here this ribbon serves as a, let's say, crystallization point for the wax during the manufacturing process. In case of silicon, it's more or less the same. What you do, you actually melt the polycrystalline silicon in a melting oven in a small furnace under a protection atmosphere like with helium, with argon or with nitrogen, and you would dip a small piece of like a crystalline monocrystalline silicon into this molten silicon in order to rotate it and draw it out of that melting bath. What happens then is that during the pulling of it, it's cooling down a bit and it will crystallize according to the crystallization structure of this initial silicon on top. So what is happening then, due to the rotation speed and due to the pulling speed, you will create different dimensions, different diameters of your monocrystalline silicon. In this return, you would make or you would manufacture the relevant wafers that you need. Those can be up to dimensions of 450 millimeters of silicon. They can be up to 3 meters long, weight up to 500 kilograms. The purity of such wafers is pretty significant as they are serving for semiconductor purposes for sure. So the purity is roughly 0.1 ppm in this case, which means 1 atom onto 10 million of silicon atoms in there. So that's basically the general production process. This method is called Czochralski process and it's widely used to do that. Those ingots, as you call them, are later on cutted, polished, etc., and then serve as wafers for the semiconductor production process. In case you may now wonder why you use a monocrystalline silicon as a starting point here, and the crystallographic orientation happens or matters a lot, if you stay patient for some more days, I will tell you in one of our next videos. So far, I hope I could show you a bit the method and what it needs to manufacture those wafers in general. I would be happy to welcome you in one of our next videos. So far, stay tuned and stay healthy.